Recording in progress.
Welcome to public meeting of Domestic State Racing Commission. Roll call.
David Hussey Sanchez, Billy Smith, John Buffington, Margaret Branch, Bob Petrie.
The United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Move on to approve the agenda. So, we've got a motion, a second. Second. Keep the microphone on. Keep the on the phone. All in favor of approval? Aye. Muted. I got. And let's move on to
Get that microphone back.
minutes of August 17th.
Sorry.
He's determined to make that patient that we're going to put all of it one cup. Okay, no. So let's start again. That's 17, August 21st and August 22nd. Second, Buffington and Denise. Motion second. Fourth, we want to agency record report. Morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, he's the Treasurer, Director of the New Mexico Racing Commission. Welcome everyone back. We had a month hiatus. It's a tough month emotionally for a lot of people. Some losses in the industry and lost their loved ones, and just wanted to thank Donald Phillips and Timmy. Had a celebration for a young guy named Forlan Villegas. There was a shot recently in Albuquerque. He was an 11-year-old boy that was an aspiring racehorse trainer. And John Cook and Beth McKinney and the racetrack family congregated together and had a great celebration and tribute to him in the middle of the racetrack by the finish line a few weeks ago. So it's good to see the community come together during those kinds of needs. And a lot of well wishes on behalf of the commissioners from stakeholders in the industry. So a lot of good thoughts from around the industry for these tough times. And it's really nice to see that. As you can tell today, the agency's just been ravaged with some illness. We're missing Denise Chavez. She's online. I hope you feel better, Denise. Real quick. Richard really hopes you really feel better very quick. Trey Reed. But nonetheless, this being fall season, CFO Amber Trujillo and myself will be heading to Santa Fe for our first budget hearing on October 24th, 2023 at 1:30. We are going to be seeking a significant expansion in light of what's happened in the industry over the past year with catastrophic injuries. We feel compelled to implement even more newer programs than what we had originally planned. So we're keeping our fingers crossed for some solid appropriations for us to do our jobs correctly, and we're counting on the legislatures to get us there to the finish line. No pun intended. It wasn't intended. State investigators Arthur Pierre, Elizabeth Garcia will be heading to Zia Park on October 24th as well. They're going to do the inspection of that facility under the guidance of a new manager, General Manager Lauren Barrows. The feedback from horsemen so far as the condition of the racetrack has been phenomenal. They said this is the best they've ever seen Zia Park's racing surface. So let's hope that that continues and weather doesn't hinder the integrity of that surface.
Another thing there, make sure they check the trail from the barns to the racetrack. I mean, I've heard over and over that's pretty tough. If if they need material there, make sure they look at it and, make sure they have material they have to, whatever.
That is correct, Chairman Sanchez, that's always been a bone of contention, that area. Zia Parks tried relentlessly to add surface. Unfortunately, it's windy there. Sometimes a lot of time blows away, but it's something that they've been focusing on to maintain, to remove rocks, as we don't want to experience no bridges in the horse and hoof over there. So, yeah, that's something we definitely like to check out every year. It's progressively getting better. I can say that. Been invited by the California Horse Racing Board to visit Santa Anita Race Course to observe some of the programs that were implemented after Santa Anita experienced a rash of catastrophic injuries. The one I'm particularly interested in is a machine called a PET scanner. This is a nuclear medicine technique. What you do is it provides a high resolution three-dimensional image of the equine musculoskeletal system. It provides functional information for both bone and soft tissues. And the process uses radioactive material that's injected into the horse. And then it's like a donut wheel that goes up and down the horse's leg as the horse is sedated, so to minimize movement of the horse's leg. And I think with as many 2-year-olds as we race here in New Mexico, this would be a beneficial tool to continue to monitor these young horses as they start training and get to the races, and then start the hard campaign of all the facilities we have here in New Mexico. Only 10 different sites utilize this technology right now. Only 2 racetracks currently have it, Santa Anita and Churchill Downs. All the other ones are located at universities or at the equine hospitals, renowned equine hospitals around the country. And when HISA was here on their visit at Ruidoso Downs, I was speaking to them about this back in late August. And they said, you might as well start planning on getting one PhD because it's going to be the norm in the industry. So I think it's a good mechanism for preventive maintenance. I think it'd be useful for our veterinarians to get the diagnostics on these horses before they're able to run in any race, not just big races, but any race for that matter. The 1.2 million state fair quarter horse maturity down at Albuquerque went very well. Nice crowd there on hand. Handle reached a little bit under $1 million, or technically under 900,000, but solid day of racing, exciting day of racing for the crowd. And Don may speak to this, and I don't know if I'm accurate on this, but I have been told by some other Downs officials that Penn Regional handles up almost 25%. But handles up. So I think maybe I don't know what that is attributed to, but the only thing I can think of is not going head to head against Saratoga and Del Mars in late summer could help. So maybe placing on the calendar they have a chance at Penn Regional. But Mr. Cook will probably be the one to tell you better than I can. And excited that once we've increased salaries for vets, we landed a very good vet named Dr. Stephen Day. We welcome him to the staff, and he will just be a relief vet, but he brings along some renowned expertise as a regulatory veterinarian and a private practitioner. And then we'll also welcome a young lady that's a veterinarian from Detroit, Michigan. Her name is Brandy O'Sullivan. It appears that she has a passion for regulation, and those are just the people that we're looking for. So I think now that the commission was able to put some money up, we're starting to attract some different names and different quality of veterinarians that will do the job the way we expect them to do it. And with all that, I stand for any questions, Commissioner.
You got one. That machine you're talking about, it's over $1 million, is it?
The rates that we've been in conversation with California Horse Racing Board, Commissioner Smith, and it's approximately $400,000 to $500,000.
By the time you get it rigged out, because you're gonna have to take it from track to track, right?
Yes, we'll request, if we're fortunate enough to get funding, we'll request that each track has a area in which we can set this mechanism up. somewhat free of dust. It's hard to do in New Mexico, but keep the machinery clean. We'll have to have a vet that will be trained in reading the images to detect areas of infirmity. And so I think it's a big step forward if we can do this.
How many are we requesting? How many machines?
I would like to get two.
That's where the main are.
Yes.
Any other questions? Mr. Chairman, I'd like to get a brief summation from Ruidoso and Albuquerque regarding some of the safety measures that were implemented and kind of quick overview how it went and maybe other racetracks can learn. So if you would like to go first, that would be great.
Eagle Limit Ruidoso Downs. As you heard, Mr. Buffington is asking, or Commissioner Buffington is asking for an update on safety, racing, integrity, and everything that was done in the 2023 meet. It started off the meet with the rock pickers and everything that have come up over and over and over again. So we picked the entire track to ensure the racing surfaces and everything were as soft and as cushioned as possible while maintaining the core of the track.
How often did you do that?
So the rock picker ran meticulously for days, but because we only groomed the top 3 inches, that's all we were focused on is the top 3 inches. So we groomed the quarter horse track and the thoroughbred track one time per meet, and all the other tracks in the state of New Mexico have been given that information because they all ask similar questions. Where do we get it? Who does it? And how? So we passed all that information on to these parties. Well, we got all of our new tractors. We got 3 new Kubota tractors instead of the 2 John Deeres. We got new motor graders to maintain the surface. We got the new Komatsu loaders to make sure everything was the best we could be. Given that we continue to see issues on the racetrack surface, that's when we shifted to the safety of the horse via the vets. And that's when we worked with the racing commission specifically on if it's not the surface or anything of that nature, what else could it be? And how do we work with the commission and the trainers to find that out? Ultimately, it goes back to the 2 veterinarian officials that we had, both the state vet and the association vet, Dr. Lowe and Dr. Butler. Really focused on pre-race exams. I think at some point in time we were focusing on getting 100 horses a day for pre-race.
Before we go there, let's go back to your equipment. What about your water trucks? Do you do anything with water trucks or anything?
So we have,
Because I remember there's being a problem there.
so we used to have 2 functional water trucks.
Mhm.
We acquired a 3rd semi and created a 3rd water truck. And at all times we have a backup truck just in case anything happens. But we have 3 functional water trucks and 2 extra chassis in case anything were to happen.
Okay, they got the sprayers, nozzles and everything all worked out and everything.
Yes, sir, 100%. Under the new ownership, we've been given very clear direction that everything needs to be the best it can be. Everything's been supported fully financially, and that's what we've done. And that was including, we had 2 tractors, and he said, "Do you need a 3rd?" And the answer was, "We don't need one to get one." And that's kind of how everything has gone this year. Is you can't afford a breakdown, you can't afford anything of that nature. So we've got the best equipment that we can have. Ultimately, when HISA, they came in for their investigation this year to look at the racing integrity. And they said this is the first track they've seen in quite some time that has all brand new equipment. They were happy to see it. And the nice part is because of our lease agreements with Kubota and Komatsu, every piece of equipment gets replaced every year. So it's not a 3-year lease. So we got 2022 tractors this year. They were replaced or will be replaced next year with the 2023 model as we roll through. The same thing with Komatsu for the motor grader and the loader. All of them are on repair and maintenance contracts. We don't have to worry about it. And we got 2 motor graders in case one breaks down. We have 2 loaders in case one breaks down. So we have redundant equipment in every capacity.
I know that was convenient.
It's unfortunate. I mean, and the truth is that the modern technology is so sensitive to sensors. So things just like the PET scan probably that you wouldn't expect to throw up a tractor or something like that. It's a scanner. We lose it and we have to bring in secondary equipment. So you'll look at from time to time and see 2 Kubotas and a John Deere. It's because the Kubota is in the back waiting for a repair and maintenance truck to come reset a sensor or something that needs to happen in that capacity. But that's the benefit of having that extra layer of protection through all the equipment. Ultimately for us, it was a trying year for the surface because it was so dry. And then we would go from so dry to we get 2 inches of rain in 30 minutes. And that'll come up later in our agenda items, the racing surface. And the only issue we really had this year was we got rained out one time. And when we got rained out, it all came down basically between the 12:30 call to post or to the paddock And the first race, we got 2 inches of rain in that time period. It was just something we couldn't manage at that point in time. And that no amount of equipment we could throw at it, because we were really prepping for a quarter horse race. That was the first race of the day. And while we were trying to close the quarter horse race, the thoroughbred track was open. And ultimately that caused us an issue. We didn't have enough time to get to the thoroughbred track. So really it wasn't a lack of maintenance. It was a timing issue. You can't take a mile surface that fast. Ultimately the rest of the safety goes back to the testing, the vets and all the equipment that we brought in this year. Dr. Lowe, a number of veterinarians out of New York, Kentucky, and California all work together on basically putting their heads together as veterinarians, try to figure out what tests we can run, what exams can we do, what is the industry doing as a whole, including while HISA was on site talking to them about what are you doing. And ultimately HISA told us there isn't anything that they're doing that we aren't. They really appreciated all the due diligence they were doing, fully supported our vets. I think that's what our vets needed to hear and should have been told is it's not that you're not doing your job. You're doing everything you can to try to protect these equine animals, specifically with regards to the industry. There's nothing anybody's doing that we weren't doing at the time. The only thing we couldn't figure out is what else could we do? So at that point in time, that's when we rented the blood panel machines out of, I think it was like Western Arizona. There's a pharmaceutical company that gave us the blood testing machines. So we blood tested every horse every day that we could. So qualifiers, trial runners, finalists, final weekends. We ran meticulously on the 29 finalist horses for the Derby, Oaks, and Futurity blood test as often as every 3 days. And if the blood test came back as irregular for any abnormalities, that was discussed with the practitioner and veterinarian of those horses. And they were basically told you need to medicate your horse in some capacity to get these operational levels back within operating norms, or the horse won't be allowed to run. Thankfully, between our practicing vets and the practicing vets of the trainers, we didn't have to scratch any horse due to abnormalities of blood tests because they were informed of the abnormalities within their blood tests, and their practitioner vets were able to make the adjustments to the medication schedules, so we didn't have any issues. Ultimately, all the finalists, we ran scratch-free, we ran injury-free on the Oaks, the Derby, and the Futurity, the main 29 horses we focused on. We really put the veterinarians to work. Ultimately, there's a myriad of things between temperature testing. We hired, I think we spent $120,000, 121 exactly, on security services just to make sure that nobody had any access to horses that shouldn't have access to. I know we got a lot of discussions from owners who wanted to go see their finalists prior to the All-American. We went through a pretty stringent exam protocol to make sure nobody could touch those horses. We got calls from owners who said, I want to touch my horse, and the answer is put it on the dock. I mean, it was a full gamut of 24-hour security to protect those equine athletes. And ultimately, we ran a good All-American weekend, and it was the way we wanted to finish the week. There were some bumps and bruises throughout the way, but we believe the integrity protocols that were put in place between mid-meet and the end of the meet is probably what you'll see from Rito so here on out.
Okay, there were some isolation barn.
So the isolation barn, we rented a 28 stall barn. We had to install the 29 porch for the 29 finalists. Ultimately, all the lawyers from all sides got together and said that probably wasn't in the best interest of the horses in the short-term notice. Basically, you qualified, you're going to a barn. We think that takes more thought process in the off season, and really need to work with the owners and trainers of the nominated races to understand how that would happen potentially going forward, and felt that if we did the knee-jerk reaction at the very end, that it might not work out the way we wanted. And so that's been an ongoing discussion in the off season to make sure that if we are going to in fact do an isolation barn next year, it's got to be in the non-blanks. It's got to be a part of it. You know, if you make it to the finals, this is what is going to happen. And that takes away a lot of the lawyer discussions about, well, I want my horse in my barn. And so we're working through that. Ultimately, it's a great idea, very hard to execute. It's very hard to do it without putting horses into a high stress environment. And that's not what we're here for. We wanted clean racing. We wanted it to be fair. And the last thing we wanted to do was stress out some of the number one quarter horses in the country. And that might have been what was caused by moving all these horses to that isolation barn at that point in time, without really giving people time to prepare for that. As an example, we moved one horse as we consolidate, like you have a horse on the north shed row and one on the south. When we moved our integrity team, and we asked them to move both of them side by side. That way we could have one person watching both horses to make sure, because we didn't want games to happen between the north shed row and the south shed row. As soon as we did that, one of the horses started to react. It couldn't sleep. It wasn't putting down feed. It was stressed. And so at that point in time, we doubled up the guards, allowed the horse to move back. That was what we were really afraid of with the isolation barn, was really throwing the horse off. And they're not the reason that we were doing it. And hopefully that was one of the main reasons we chose not to do it. It needs more planning, and that's what we've been doing in the offseason. You'll probably see us do it, but we're going to communicate it better, and it won't be a last minute decision like we look to do it 2020.
Okay, thanks. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Mr. Cook. Commissioner Don Cook, one benefit of leaving our track open year round for training is our track doesn't get very far away from. The key to our track is material. Every year, all of us run a soil sample report. The soil sample I get back, is never recommended having any sand. Over the years, excuse me a second before you go. Do you have a soil sample report also?
Yes, sir, and everything's been submitted to Executive Director Trejo probably in the last month, is he? I think he's looked in.
Yes, I don't know if we got the 2023 soil analysis yet.
Okay, I can double check, but we've been
We
communicating.
need to have those
Yes, sir.
for our records here. Thank you for bringing that up. That's what question I was going to ask you. But, make sure we have soil sample reports.
Yes, sir.
So we usually pull our reports in April, which that's in. When you read the report, it'll say down it does not recommend adding sand. But over the years doing this, you've got to add sand every year. I don't care what that report says. So we have 400 yards of sand every year. Organic, same thing. Organic holds moisture in the track. We have 500 yards of organic every year. 250 gallons of chips. That's our initial blast. So our key, since we're sitting on a lot of clay, we have to get that sand and organic into our track. And our maintenance schedule is, for some tracks, especially down in Sunland, I don't know how they rip because they're sitting pretty low with the water table. We have to rip our track twice a week. If not, it'll get hard. Our track causes an issue. So our key is material and maintenance. And I feel that we have one of the safer racetracks in this part of the country. And our numbers reflect that. So our key is material. And when you pull those soil sample reports and they don't recommend adding material, you better add material to the racetrack. And we put, since I've been at the dam, almost $1.2 million in material. So that's our priority is material. I think that's the key. The bone scanning machines, we're talking. You can sit there and have every race inspect these horses unless you get in there and see what's going on internally. I don't want to say it's a waste of time. It looks good. We've got 4 or 5 vets looking at these animals before they run. We've got to get in there with these bone scan machines or x-ray machines. And that's where it's headed. We're probably eventually going to be x-raying every single horse that runs. And that's, it looks good having a vet look after these horses, watching flex knees, watching jog. Until you can get in there with these machines, you can only do so much. Well, that's good, because we have a mandate from the governor of state New Mexico, and by God, we're going to follow that. No matter what it takes or whatever we have to do, we're going to go to legislature, ask for more money, whatever we have to do here. But that has to be done. I mean, there's no two ways about it. Just want to let all the tracks know that we're very serious about this. Very, very serious. I personally had a good conversation with her, and she's very serious about this. And I love this industry, and I want no one shutting it down. So when we ask you people to do certain things, it's for a reason. We're not doing this for hell. We're doing it because we're trying to save this industry. It's a great industry to save Mexico, and we're trying to make it right. And the governor's right there. She's on top of us, let me tell you. And we are going to do what she wants to. Getting this X-ray equipment, bone scanning machines, now we're talking. And, we gotta figure out how to pay for it, but we'll figure it out. But we wanna do it, we wanna do it right. That's where we need to head. Well, we're headed up to Santa Fe, see if we can get some more money on this for this and other more beds and so on and so forth, more personnel. I mean, another investigator, maybe one or two more investigators. We need to get the thing right. And the legislature's they have to see where we're at. A mandate from the governor is very important. They have to see that. We always have a hard time with some of this. And this year's a whole different thing here. And we want the support of all the racetracks and horsemen and everything to help us out there, because that would really help us. But we need that help, lobbyists, whatever. We need to protect this industry. And that's our job here as regulators, protecting this industry. And that's what we're going to do. We're, like I said, we're mandated, we're doing it. And that's all there is to it. Anything else, Donnie?
Thank you, Don and Ethan, and I'm sure things you learned, pass on to the other tracks, and we'll just build and build and build. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Donnie. Appreciate it. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Okay, let's move on to New Mexico Horse Breeders Association.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mary Barber, New Mexico Horse Breeders.
But hold on, Mary. Hold on, Mary. Hold on a second. We can't hear you. Say something there.
You know, I can't hear you all that well
I
either.
can't hear you. Hold
Ah.
on. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you, but not.
Okay. Well, we can't hear you yet. Well, let's see.
I have it on 97.
Yeah.
You better get it 100.
Do you have Denise?
Yeah.
Keep her on the phone.
You know sign language?
The rain in Spain. I think y'all need some new equipment.
Denise,
We're trying here. Where's that?
Down there. On the computer.
okay, I'm not even seeing the audio computer. Down at the bottom. Ah, okay. No.
Bear with us here a little bit. Denise isn't here, you can tell.
Okay. I think so, yeah. Okay. Mary, can you say something?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
I think we got it now.
Oh, okay. Is it working?
No, it's a little bit better, not quite where we need it.
Maybe put a microphone in front of it. Oh,
Say something, Mary.
hello.
There you
Are
go.
you there?
That better?
Is that better?
Getting there, not quite. We can hear it.
Well, no.
Looks like it. Yeah, you know, Denise Amber is here, and she found the Real Tech Audio, and that's at max, as well as and the TV as well.
Have IT people here?
Amber. Small agency.
We apologize, commissioners and audience.
We need a 3-year-old kid over here.
I should have got one of your grandchildren for this.
That's how I got my grandkids, 3 years old. Take care of the kid. Always that. They get it. 3-year-old kids in the audience there. So can't get it done.
Okay, Mary, can you hear us? Are you there?
I can hear you.
Okay.
It's kind of muffled at times. I think you need a new sound system.
It is. I know. I'm hearing on the outside.
Yeah. And Denise, Amber is still going through things, but everything seems to be maxed out. I mean, TV.
The song, so if you can't, like Mary is just on the computer, she's not here.
And Amber increased the real check is he's got the TV.
Is it, can we get the IT for something like gaming controls side?
Yeah, we can go get Jonas. And give them a shot.
Denise.
So same system. home.
Yeah, Denise said try settings.
Okay. Let's see if that works.
How's that?
Mary, say something.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Told you.
Is that good enough?
Go down a little bit.
Too loud.
Okay, Mary, say something there.
Am I too loud now?
No.
Okay.
Say something. Talk to us.
Can you hear me good enough?
Yeah, right there. That's a lot better. Thank you so much. Thank
Okay.
you. Get started now if you want.
All righty. Okay, I've got 2 racetracks to report on. I've got the final reports for Ruidoso Downs. In their 47 days of racing, they ran 174 New Mexico bred races. Of those, 64 thoroughbred overnight, 46 quarter horse overnight. Our contribution to those races was $355,000. That's up about $200,000 from the previous year. There were 8 thoroughbred trials, 38 quarter horse trials, 8 thoroughbred stakes, and 10 quarter horse stakes. $445,000 was contributed to the stakes races at Ruidoso, and the total contribution was $800,000. That's $274,000 more than in 2022. Ruidoso averaged 3.87 New Mexico bred races per day. There were 80 thoroughbred and 94 quarter horse for a total of 174. And they were plus 39 for the 3 a day. On the average field size for restricted New Mexico bred overnight races, the thoroughbreds averaged 7.83, the quarter horses 9.18, and for a combined average field size of 8.39. On their breeds and open overnight races, 477 New Mexico breds ran open, and of those, 139 came in first, second, or third, and that is 30%. There were 67 thoroughbreds, 72 quarter horses, and the New Mexico horse breeders contributed $152,608 to those purses. For the Downs at Albuquerque, well, I should say for the New Mexico State Fair, for their first 16 days through September 24th, the New Mexico State Fair ran 71 New Mexico bred races. Of those, there was 22 thoroughbred overnights, 24 quarter horse overnights, 2 thoroughbred trials, 21 quarter horse trials, 2 thoroughbred stakes. The total contribution to those races was $317,500, and that's $76,500 more than the first 17 days in 2022. During that time, they averaged 4.44 New Mexico bred races per day, 26 thoroughbred, 45 quarter horses, and that's plus 23 for the 3 a day. For the average field size for restricted New Mexico bred overnight races, the thoroughbreds averaged 8.23 horses per race. The quarter horses 9.3 for a combined average field size of 9 horses per race. for New Mexico breds running an open overnight races during the New Mexico State Fair. There was 202. 60 of those came in first, second, or third. And again, that's 30%. There was 33 thoroughbreds, 27 quarter horses, and the contribution to those purses was $77,583 from the New Mexico horse breeders. And that concludes my reports. Do you have any questions?
I have a question, man. How much money does a breed program give the quarter horses versus the thoroughbreds? What's the split?
For the most part, we add the same amount to a quarter horse race as we do to a thoroughbred race, as far as both overnight and stakes. On the overnight, it depends on what type of a race it is, on how much we add to it, meaning allowance race or a maiden special weight or a claiming race. We add the exact same amount to a quarter horse race as we do to a thoroughbred race.
Pretty great, thank you.
Mary, I had a question. I saw some correspondence a while back about contributions to stakes races. And I think historically Sunray got a 60% contribution and changed to 50%. And so it's a change. So I was wondering if you could explain the logic.
No, sir, there is a misunderstanding there. We do not figure by percentages. What the process has been since the beginning of time is the New Mexico horse breeders meets with the racetrack managers, and we discuss their stake schedule and how much money we have and how much money we'll put on those purses. We come to an agreement. I write the gaming and breakage letter. I send it to that manager. I send a copy to the Horsemen's Association, a copy to the commission. It is then put on your agenda and you approve it. But we have always come to an agreement in advance. Now, since then, our board of trustees has come together to discuss and vote on our contribution policy. And they have decided that our new policy will be that we will be happy to match the racetracks on their contribution to our New Mexico bred stakes races, as long as we have the funds to do so. And that is our policy.
So,
and it's only fair, really. Actually, our funds were designed to go on top of what a racetrack would put on an open race. Now, if you look at the stake schedules, every racetrack puts more on an open race than they do on a New Mexico bred race, because they know that we're going to contribute quite a bit to those purses. And that's not, the argument here at all. It's just that we don't feel that we need to put more than the racetrack does. And it's only fair.
But that is a change though, right?
Well, in the past, if you look at the stake schedule for the Downs at Albuquerque, for Zia Park, for Sunland Park, we match them on everything. We don't have any problem with that. Now at Ruidoso Downs during COVID, we did put up more money because there was a lack of funds from the racetrack, and we had the money, and so we did that. We have been having discussions with Sunray Park over the last several years with Brad Bolam, with Lonnie Barber, about the contrast. They always want us to put up more than they do. And so anyway, we have this new policy, and that is what the New Mexico Horse Breeders plans to do, if we have the money to do so. And I don't have the money I had the last 2 years at Sunray Park that I had before.
Thank you. That helps me. Would you send Izzy, if you haven't already, what the rules are? I know you guys have them written down, and
No, they're really
get that information from Izzy, and I think if you have written down things, that's helpful to everybody.
Well, I don't believe there's ever been really a rule on this. We've all just come together and discussed what's going to happen and agreed on it, and then you guys approve it. I mean, that has been the policy. That's what we've always done in the past.
Okay, well, I would like, okay, don't call it a rule, call it a guideline or something, but I would like something to see something so that just to know what the rules or the guidelines are. If you wouldn't mind putting that in a written format, I think it would avoid confusion going forward.
Sure, I'd be happy to.
All righty, thank you. Mr.
You're
Brown?
welcome.
Just to make it a little better.
You met,
Pardon?
tell us who you are there.
Yeah,
Why don't you come up here, Mark, so I can pick it up.
yeah, as a board and that, it's always been, we're giving here and that. And so what we're trying to
You
do
have to
is
state your name.
excuse me, my name is Mark Brown, and I'm a member of the trustees of the Mexican Leaders. Well, there we go.
We need that for the record.
Okay, no. But anyway, basically what we do is came up with a policy for us to follow. It's not set rules. There's sort of a guideline policy that we're doing because as we was going through there, this was getting this much of that. We're just trying to stabilize it and give the racetracks guidelines on where we'd like to be with it in our joint races. And that's basically what it is. What the policy is that it's like the member stated, we're more than happy as long as we have the money to match whatever they want to put up in our races that make better races.
Yeah, it makes sense. I just think, and it makes sense why you wanted kind of some guidelines
Yeah,
written down. I just think it needs to be a little more, so we know
Okay.
when we,
A little
when
more
I get
official word, I guess.
questions, I want to know. The other concern I have, and I don't believe we've gotten out of hand yet, but I always ask every year when we approve racing books, what percentage of overnights and what the percentages of stakes races. And I think that's something we need to monitor, to make sure that we're not out of whack a little bit with stakes versus overnight money. And I think traditionally the stakes races have been in the 22% range. And it's important that I would like to see that stay kind of in that range. So.
And that's basically what the racing secretaries set up is.
Right, no, I got it, but I just want to make sure that we keep a little of that in line with historical numbers, so I appreciate it, and if you'll get those guidelines to Izzy, I'm sure that will.
Yeah, I'm sure
help us all. Yeah, okay.
One more question. How much conversation has went on in the breeders' board, splitting the quarter horses from the thoroughbreds, and they have their 6 and you have your 6, so you can decide the destination of where you want to take your quarter horse, how to build numbers. It looks like to me that the thoroughbred end of it's dictating what the quarter horse end of it does. Is that right?
In the past, you're right, and we're making stages right now, a slow process. We're trying to get parity in the money in the stakes races. We're working on that every year and look at the stakes that maybe we don't need to do this to, and trying to get parity between the two breeds. Historically, the thoroughbreds have got a lot more than one.
Well, more than that, I'm talking about you guys want to send a mare out, not have it polled here, but as long as it breeds to New Mexico stud, you want to increase your numbers.
Yep.
The other organization doesn't want to increase their numbers. So eventually we're going to have problems with numbers because there's people in this industry who are going to retire, and we're going to have problems with numbers of horses for the breed program.
Yeah.
And so that $1 million race could go away if you don't get those numbers up, because they're not all going to nominate from now on.
Us as a board, we've actually been trying to make those adjustments and changes. Sadly, our membership votes us out of the general meetings a lot of times on changes that we're trying to make.
That's why they need to speak.
But it's an ongoing, I can assure you, it's an ongoing process. We've made slow changes in the past, not as fast as what 4-horse people like to, and especially what the thoroughbreds like to. But it is, it is an ongoing process, trying to find some place that we can monitor that.
We gotta grow the numbers. I'm not saying take anything away from the breeds, but like if they want to breed their mare and take it home and fold it out, they breed their mare here. You'd be in New Mexico.
Personally, I agree with you 100%. Sadly,
I know, that's why they need to be separated.
Yes.
Within the same organization.
Yeah.
So they can dictate the destination of their breed. You can dictate the destination of your.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean, it's an ongoing discussion, as you well know.
well, push it.
It's hard, it's hard to create change sometimes.
I know.
I'm familiar with that concept, but.
Well, see, on the quarter horse, you have your embryos, thoroughbreds, you don't, so there's a big difference.
Right.
It's two, even though we're in the same industry, it's two different businesses.
That's right.
Two different models.
That's why you need to make your decision for your breed, and they need to make decisions for their breed.
And we have had some changes through the years, but it's not as fast as what some others would like it.
And we're still here waiting.
It's faster than other people like to see it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mary? Can't hear.
I asked her to unmute.
I'm sorry, I'm unmuted now. Can you hear me?
You mute yourself, okay. Anything, you have anything to add to that or anything?
No, that's really a discussion for our board to have and talk about. I know there has been talk about that in the past, but we're one association with two breeds, and we really don't have the funding to have two associations. But so far we've been able to work together pretty much in harmony. So I don't know. It's something for the board to discuss and ask the membership to vote on.
Yeah, because the two breeds have two different rules, so it makes it hard to make it right for everyone. We understand that. That's why I say we're still here waiting.
People don't like change, but sometimes we need to make changes to make sure our industry continues. I don't like change, but sometimes we have to make some changes to make sure that we have the horses to keep those $1 million races around for the quarter horses, and hopefully the thoroughbreds will change their view on things and kind of take the same path, so they increase everything. That's up to them.
Any other questions, anything? Thank you, Mary, appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Let's move on. Let's go on to Commissioner Buckington. Can you take us in closed session?
I will do that. I move that the commission enter into executive session to discuss pending litigation, licensing matters, and for deliberations in connection with legal proceedings as identified under item number 7 of the meeting agenda in accordance with NMRC 1978, sections 10-15-1H, 1, 3, and 7 of the Open Meetings Act.
Okay, thank you. We're now in closed session. We're going to move in here. You'll stay.
We need to second it.
We need to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll second it.
You second it? Okay, we got a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, well, I'm sorry.
Chairman, we do need a roll call vote. That's for the two situations where we need a roll call vote.
Okay.
Closed session.
Okay.
Give us a roll call vote here.
David Hossie Sanchez,
Yes.
Billy Smith,
Yes.
John Buffington,
Yes.
Margaret Brandt,
Yes.
Robert Petrie.
Yes. Okay. Now we're closed. You got to just stay here.
And just to let you, the folks online, the commissioners are going to be moving to a separate room for it should be a short executive session. So we're going to keep the meeting open. So please just stay in the room, please. Thank you.
Where we go?
We're one of this.
Yeah, sorry, we're gonna be like, we need to take this, we need to take this book.
Recording stopped.
How you doing? With your son last night.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, we're on the same team. Yeah.
Baseball?
No, it's a golf tournament. It's 4 teams of 18 guys.
That sounds like a cluster B.
Loved it last.
It's fun. It's 27 holes Friday and 18 on Saturday. That's through that door. What is through that? I don't know. Hold on a second, Lord. Hold on.
Oh, it's a lot cooler in there.
There you go. Son of a money in the clear, right? Great job, great job. We coming this way?
Yes, great.
That's why they're here. Same way for. Yep.
Yeah, you
And I think it is.
you can get it lower.
You know, we were in here yesterday.
Yeah, that was the only thing running.
I got. I came in early this morning.
3 years, 5 years ago. I keep doing them.
We talked to more again.
The Senate, yeah, it was centrist. Well, and we will.
We'll take that for play by the new.
Yeah.
We get a new attorney. That thing came up.
Someone's got to keep an eye on your next one.
Good for the race. It's not.
We'll come and get you, Jeff.
Should be pretty quick. I can't go into executive session.
You're invited to.
Oh.
You're our attorney.
I'm not your attorney.
You're not?
Explicitly not your attorney.
When we represent us.
I like them here.
Yes. Great.
Izzy, I'm not trying to talk right on Wednesday night.
Wednesday. The race. I have a place for a thought on their library.
Oh, yeah.
Around you literally.
Testing. Making sure.
I have a game plan, and I executed it with flawless. Less than an hour and a half.
I think there's one Wednesday.
Yeah, what? Probably not.
I decided to want to meet her in person. Because I get her, another one. She works with Dr. Lowe, I didn't know either one of them. Oh, wow. Dr. Butler, she worked with Greenhouse, and then she worked in town, Phoenix.
Well, so we didn't get that far.
No, I'm gonna talk to her next week. So I just did the meet and greet. I just a little meet and greet.
So it depends on where she wants to go. We got two possibilities.
Yeah.
We can put that without.
I already promised that to the new,
So our. One of those spots.
I don't know why we can't.
Right, exactly. There's so much.
Because horsemen will.
But you just don't tell anybody where she is, because otherwise.
We always. This one right there. Well, somebody like that. We need to get her.
We also send that waiting for her. They'll find it out here.
Those speakers and David Tyson. $1,000 there.
I don't know whether it's house drive or best.
I paid mine 500, contract less, my mine went 575, and they're both not coming back. So I expect to get sticker shock. But it is a lot.
Some stuff. Yeah. Right.
But it's not supposed to be on solid ground, but we've got 355.
Yeah.
What's so tough? It's so tough. I know what people do. But I'm all for it. I'm all the way. I wanted to have one to hospital. If my guy was going to do that. And I left go back. I don't think it's going to be done. You know. So, you know, they did come out, you know, like, oh, they do. Oh, that's good. They're great. See, that's the other part of it. You gotta have somebody that interpret and know what they're. A lot, they smarter than.
Retire.
Well, or how long it takes, or mine for every horse, or is it just one horse? I can't think for the, those two machines. How does also, funds, gonna be part of, all those, that's the funds.
Steve,
Then they go by the people, we all. The food. They did.
Even this past year was only that you have horses, you said, take 4 times, next year, 30 races, over 40 horses. 11 days. They was no relation to it. We wasn't.
Where'd you steal that water?
from Bob.
So,
You want me to look around?
I don't know who beat you, but just.
I'm talking about the video.
What's up, Steve?
You know, that part.
Yeah. Full one. Both doors open. Show how it was talk about backward. You need the right way back. We don't all get their money, their money back. And that's what I look at. I look at everything about the owner, without the owner. All set. So, right, once you start, you know, there's the rainbow, all there. I mean, ain't no, the other day, okay. And because the breed guys calls, can't run the breed back close to the can't run close to the. I mean, there's. No. There's 90% of them. There's always the guy. How you doing?
Don't eat that.
What you do?
Can you tell us? I hear you. The silent.
You gotta hit unmute.
Yes.
And record.
Yeah.
You got it?
Recording in progress.
Honorable Commissioners, I hereby affirm that in the executive session, the commission discussed only the matters listed in the agenda. And basically there were updates and no decisions were made. Thank you.
We're now in open session. Okay, we'll go to unfinished business. A. Of course, for approval. Amended FY 25 Municipal Region Commission budget.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if we can refer to Ms. Amber Trujillo, the agency CFO.
Last time you come up here, remember, you had books, a bunch of books. Now you come over with some paper, huh? Must be a small budget or something there.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I think there's gonna be a lot of questions and I'm prepared for those, so by all means, but, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, thank you so much for allowing me to speak with you all today regarding our budget. We have some major changes that affected our budget. Traditionally, our budget is running about 3.4 million. And currently, the budget that we turned in as of September 1st changed from what I first mentioned. We added some items, and I'll go into a little bit more detail. So our total request for FY 25 right now stands at $8,409,800. And I know that's a little bit eye-opening.
$5 million.
Yes. And so the reason for that, please don't be alarmed. This is nothing bad, I promise. The DFA and LSC, we had a couple meetings after our commission meeting, and that's what caused this major increase. So they did request us to budget the HISA, Senate Bill 336 and funds, basically the HISA and jockey exercise rider. So what we did is we budgeted 1.5 million for the HISA costs. As you're probably aware, we expect after the 8th installment for HISA to increase drastically. We don't know how much. We're hoping to hear some additional information in the days, months to come. However, we're prepared for those increases. In addition, we also put 1.5 million for jockey exercise insurance rider for that. We're basically in the 400 category. So, and the reason being is just based on past costs and also some of the incidents that have happened at the racetracks. We kind of expected, insurance and those type of things to go up as they normally do with auto insurance and that type of stuff for us on a personal level. So that is pretty much the bulk of the increase. The additional increase is an expansion request. And that would basically for 12 FPP is what we are requesting. The total of our expansion request is 1.4 million. And that also includes anything that may be needed for that new staff, furniture, IT equipment, vehicles, that type of thing in order to get those staff on the ground and basically running so that they can continue to conduct work for the commission. That is just a brief overview for our budget. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Well, when you go up there, you're going to ask for $8.4 million. But now you're going to break it out to them because HIS is part of that, which has already been allocated, right? So,
yes. So, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, we are going to have kind of a breakout. We have already had discussions with LSC and DFA to inform them why our budget is basically increasing so much. It's an alarming amount compared to the 3.4, which we're running this year for our operating budget. And basically, again, we're just informing people that the 3 million that you see for the HISA rider is basically a flow-through account. Has nothing to do with our agency. We just simply bring the money in, transfer it out to pay HISA, everything else that is acceptable under that bill.
Mr. Trevor, yeah, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, on top of what Mr. Eo mentioned, we're really going to have to do a good job of painting the picture to the legislature's district. I'm concerned because we're going to not drill down and see that this 3 million for HISA and jockey and exercise rider insurance. They think we've had so many debates. They think it's coming to the agency to fund us. So it looks like our appropriation's already been escalated. Then we also have to keep in mind the $1 million that's 700,000 for drug testing on horses and $300,000 in the coffer that sat empty for several years. So they're adding that million to our budget as well. So it looks like we got $4 million coming to us already, but we can't touch that. As you know, the equine test fund is strictly for equine testing, and HISA and jockey and exercise rider insurance is strictly to do what the Senate Bill 336 said, was to pay that. But it appears that some people in Santa Fe are thinking, well, they already got a payday. And so we're prepared to do a good job on explaining how this money is not utilized by the agency for our everyday cost of the employees and contracts and other operating costs.
So the 24th, this is when it starts, right? This,
Yes.
right here.
October.
So we'll go to 24th with this $8.5 million budget, and we'll start there, and then away we go. And our job is to educate the legislatures on this, why we need that 8.5, and I think it'd be good to educate other people to help us out of it. Such as horsemen, track people, all this kind of stuff. We're gonna need help here, in other words. In order for this commission to move forward in the right direction, the way the governor wants us to move, we're gonna need that. So we're gonna need a lot of help here, from everyone.
From the industry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, big time.
Say that, the tracks have good lobbyists and anyone that we can help educate. But
Right.
we are a poor struggling agency, and when you drill down, what we have to operate is really about $2.4 million a year. And as you know, since FY21, we have been asking for money to hire vets. Last year we went for 1.8 million, and I've said it on the record several times, we got 47,000 or so. We're looking for the legislatures to really help us out this year.
How is our budget holding up now from the budget we got? And I know we've been spending more on let's say, vets and this and that. Do we look all right? I mean, right now?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, yes, as far as right now, we do look fine. I'll be honest with you, if it was not for that $500,000 special appropriation, which I know and I believe that we're going to have some strong debates in Santa Fe as we go up to this next hearing. That money has been a hot topic, the $500,000. It has been budgeted. It has started to be spent. But if it were not for that money and basically Izzy bringing on the additional veterinarians to basically charge that code, our budget would not be very healthy.
Yeah, and that's what I was worried about there, being that we got the mandate from the governor and this is what we had to do. So I understand that, and budgets are pretty tricky. So I don't want to get in the rears on this stuff. I want to stay above it because once you get in the rears, it's kind of tough, especially a government agency. When we get in the rears to go beg for money back and forth. Right now, we're going to be begging, but we need to be in the black on this thing when we go up there.
One of the things you gotta do, you gotta put down in black and white, set it in front of them as well as explain it. You gotta put it black and white, explain what 336 is. Explain what did that, everything you put down, you say, this is already spent. This is not ours, goes to the Jockton Church and the HISA. You gotta really, really detail it so they can look at it and tell it. But you just sitting there explaining to me, and you just, when you said 8.4 million, they'll look at you like you're out.
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I completely agree with that. And believe it or not, we've been getting a ton of questions from PFA, LFC regarding what we're doing with these positions, what their purpose is, what can we live without. And again, we're kind of referencing the mandate by the governor to act now type of thing and basically saying, look, this is what we need. We need to have more boots on the ground, more individuals out doing inspections, farm inspections, investigators, that type of thing. So we have my staff has put together a presentation, if you will, that basically outlines the flow of money for 336, because that has been the main source of confusion for a lot of the questions that we're getting. The other source of confusion is the special appropriation. So people want for us to use the 500,000 to basically pay for Senate Bill 336. And we're getting a lot of push on that.
Don't make it too complicated. Well, if you make it too complicated, most of those guys up there aren't accountants, they're attorneys, they're not business people. Don't make it too, make it simple.
You're on the record, Bill. You don't want to hurt yourself.
The white Americans.
Same way, I want to make it simple.
I understand that, but.
Sorry, guys.
You're talking to the legislators. Have you identified key legislators to approach on this?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, that is something that, we really don't stick our necks out in Santa Fe as staff.
No, I mean,
That's what we're for.
Yeah.
That's what we're for.
Get us to the finish line there.
We got to be good for something, so that's it. And that's one of the jobs of the commission, is to talk to legislators.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. That's why we're appointed by the governor to do this stuff. And then we in turn ask for, let's say, the horsemen for help on this thing, guys. You know, this legislature, that's okay. Let's see if we can talk to them here. But that's our job as commissioners to help this agency. That's part of it. That's where we're at, whether we like it or not. That's our job. Like my dad told me years ago, I was having problems when I first started my business, doing this and that. He tells me, he looks right at me and says, "You know what to do?" I go, "What's that?" I said, "Put your tie on and go to Santa Fe." Oh, yes, sir. And that's what I did. Put my tie on, what's that? And that changes things. And we have to do that here.
Yes, and if I may add, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, it's just not the commission's job to go up there and politic. But if the industry wants to sustain, everyone that makes their living off this industry needs to be up there at Santa Fe, giving us some support, get some finances to do this right.
That's why I said we have to ask the horsemen, we have to ask the tracks, we have to ask everyone in this industry, hey, we need help. We need to get together on this thing and make this thing go. Because everyone benefits. You know, the ones that really don't benefit is us, really, because we're here volunteers. But we're doing this to help this industry, benefit everyone here, the tracks, the horsemen, the jockeys, everyone. And that's what it's all about. And we're here, we take great pride in this industry, and we want to make sure that it is healthy.
When you go to Santa Fe, take a check.
Or a good credit card one too. Okay.
Is it appropriation that you're going in front of?
LFC, isn't it?
It's the LFC hearing on the 24th. We have not yet been scheduled for a HAFC meeting, the appropriations meeting at this point.
Or can we get the names of the legislators that are on that committee?
Yes.
Yeah, if you get us the names, that'd be helpful.
Okay.
We give money differently. I give money to the trial lawyer, and you know, I think it helps us every which way.
Yeah, that's part of it, you see. Anything else?
Certainly appreciate all the support commissioners give. I know conversations take place that we don't know about, but it certainly helps pave the way when we get up there.
And if we're up there lobbying for this commission and stuff, let's make sure we get our facts straight. Let's talk to Izzy and the agency and make sure we have our facts straight, because we don't want to go up there with the wrong information and then it throws everything off. We have to have our facts in order to do this.
I mean, you put it in black and white. Will we get a copy of that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we need it.
Yeah, so we can get it.
Yeah, use it. The presentation. You can give us the presentation, that might be helpful.
Absolutely.
We're more than happy to do that.
Anything else, Amber?
That is all for right now. Again, I do apologize for bringing this on a little bit later, but we just had those key conversations that we were told to budget, you know, the HISA, and that's what basically made the bulk of our budget change. So.
We understand that. Any questions for Amber? Is that?
Does the budget include the X-ray machine that you was talking about?
So in the particular numbers, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, the particular numbers that I read to you, no, it does not. That is a separate part of our request. That is basically a special appropriation. So it was sent in, yes, but it is not in the numbers that you heard today. So
It's not?
no, it is not. We heard, and the reason being is that this is one particular section of the House bill. And then special appropriations or deficiencies, supplementals, those fall into a different section. So we did go in with two special appropriation requests. One was for the scanners, and the other one is for a blue collar. Blue ribbon.
They might be smaller than
Blue collar. What is that? What is that called? Ribbon machine. What is that?
They're gonna talk about that later.
Yeah, that's in there.
Oh,
That's in the, it's just like in the private sector, you have to do things a little bit different, something you depreciate and something you don't. Like this would be, if we're in the private sector, this equipment would be depreciated, so it has to go in a different column. It can't be on this one. So you have to think of it that way. I mean, as business people, just turn around. This is a state municipal, so that's why it's like that.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, you're correct, and that's why it's not here, because this is not this is our operating budget, but the special appropriations come as an additional amount, so it's not considered part of your operating budget. It's determined.
Any other questions? Thank you so much, young lady. Appreciate it. Okay, let's move on to request for approval of 2023 ZF Park stewards.
Yeah. Commissioners, we would need, Commissioner Sanchez, we would need a motion regarding the request for approval of amended
Okay, I'm sorry.
25 budget.
Okay, I need a motion to approve this budget.
So move, Commissioner Smith.
Second, Buffington. Any discussion on this? Now, motion is second. Do we need a roll call on this or not?
No.
No? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We're good. There you go, Amber.
Thank you.
Okay, now we go to request for approval for 2023 Zia Park Steward.
Yes, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, respectfully requesting approval of the following stewards to work the 2023 Zia Park Race Meet. Presiding steward, Mr. Larry Montano Jr., associate stewards, Rug Howard, Gary Carrion, with substitute stewards, Lisa Johnson, Elizabeth Garcia, Violet Pinky Smith, Arthur Pierre, and Jeff Waxler.
Rug Howard, did you have a baby? Rug Howard, no, just water.
He's bald.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I need a motion to approve stewards.
So move, Commissioner Smith.
Your second, Buffington. I got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we got them there. Okay, let's see, discussion of organize a task force that will be assets to municipal racing.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, based on what the industry experienced here in New Mexico, this calendar year, this racing season, starting in Sunland Park, running through the rest remaining part of the racing season. And the letter that the governor had sent the agency wanting us to do better at our positions. The thought process behind this thought to organize a task force is to bring in industry experts from outside that don't have any biased opinions of New Mexico, come in and evaluate a variety of facets that we have here in the racing industry, including race dates, stake schedules, catastrophic injuries, soil analysis, circumference of racetracks, rules and regulations. It's basically a team that we want to assemble to assess everything that we have going on here and study it and perhaps make some recommendations that we could put into play. As Mr. Trujillo, the CFO, indicated, we have submitted a special appropriation for this. And speaking to some of the guys out there that do this type of stuff, it looks like the price is probably going to come in under the RFP a price of 60,000. So we could do one-stop shopping, or we could select our own individual experts out there. We have a lot of good connections in the industry that can come in here and look at everything from A to Z and see if there's some tweaks that we can make to our model right now.
Okay, are we gonna advertise this, or how are we gonna select these people? How will they know, if they want to volunteer if they want to take, not volunteer, if they want to take part in this? How will these people know? I mean, this is throughout the United States, right?
Yeah, it could be a guy from California, it could be a guy from New York, it could be a guy from Kentucky. You know, I think the expertise for track surfaces lies in Kentucky with a gentleman named Nick Peterson. I think he's above the rest in the science, in the soil analysis, and he has some good racetrack superintendents that know configurations of racetracks, the bases of racetracks, the depths of cushions, so forth, the soil content mixed with organics, like Don was saying earlier. It's tough to find the right mix that's conducive for safety of a horse. And the tracks already do some of this already, but you know, sometimes you learn something if you listen to these experts and they take a deep dive.
Being that you said that, and I was wondering earlier, I'm sure the tracks have tried this, but I was just wondering, have they, removed all the surface from there and go down a foot or so, and then put fabric, pervious fabric on there, and then put the material that way, the bottom clay and stuff that you have in the bottom won't mix in with your good stuff. I mean, have they tried that and stuff? They do that in roads. When they build a road, it all depends where it's at. But there's been places where the material comes in and mixes to the baseboards and messes the road up. And what they do, they put a fabric out there. It's a pervious fabric where the water will go penetrate through and all this other stuff. But it holds the rocks and clay and stuff separate from the material you want on that. And I know that's been a practice that they do, not on all the highways, just at certain highways. Now just wondering on the racetracks if they tried that. I mean,
I'm not fully aware of the content of the makeup from the subsurface up of our racetracks here, but I would assume it's probably a little different from track to track based on the different environments that we race on, a different season we race in each environment. But as far as fabric goes, I've never seen fabric laid down. I guess the traditional way is to have some gravel, then you get your base built in there. There's got to be some type of drainage, but maybe the gentleman here can.
But you see that the fabric that they have, it drains. I mean, but it won't let the rocks come up, and that's a problem that we have. The more you pound it and stuff, and go over the tractors, and your soil moves, and your rocks come to the surface, and that's what you're trying to avoid. It if you have that fabric there's all different kinds of fabric, and to stop that, and you just keep the good material on top, it would really help a lot.
That makes a lot of sense, and it makes a lot of sense to the point that I've seen that on the synthetic surface. I was at Turfway Park in Kentucky, and believe it or not, above all the gravel, they have a very porous asphalt, about that thick. It can drain into the ground below, but it stops the rocks from coming up. So it's basically the same idea.
Yes.
Well, I think it's an excellent idea to get some fresh ideas from experts, and I strongly support this. Do you have any idea of a timing?
Well, as soon as we can get the appropriation, it's been submitted already, and it's for this year. I was hoping to get started on this before the end of the year, and hopefully by spring have some recommendations for the industry. And then we did the same thing. We experienced the same type of issue in West Virginia one year, and a task force was brought in with experts, very similar. I'm certainly not creating this. I'm not smart enough to think of this on my own, just duplicating what I've seen work before. They come in with some very good recommendations to help decrease the catastrophic injuries that we experience here. This year's been like no other, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Anything else on this? Any questions? Anything? We have a bunch of horse people here, tracks, and Want to add anything? Yes, sir. State your name, please.
Mark Brown.
There you go. So, I mean, we need that for the record, so.
Yes, yes, sir. And you're talking about that tarp. It has been done at one place. We done it with a cherry racing track in the winter time. So we can manage the moisture and that. It's different here. But it does work is if you can put it down, hold your moisture, and you put drainage rocks underneath it.
Right.
One problem is you gotta put it down deep enough, so they rip the tracks to go tear it back up.
You see, and that's the whole thing. You have to speak to other tracks and see where it went wrong, where it went right, so on and so forth.
And they run flat races up there too. It's a small track in Utah. But if there's the cherry race, you know, we run in ice, cold weather and everything. We've actually had salt to keep the track from freezing, but then it can also hold all the water from the snowstorm, like they let it drain. And then they can manage it. So it can be done and it was very successful, but there is more management.
And each track is gonna be different.
Each track.
Even in New Mexico, every
we-
track is different here, every track.
That's
And
it.
because of the material they haul in, I mean, I think Donnie's very lucky that the material around here is good, but you go, let's say the Hobbs, well, it's completely different material, and when they get sand there, it's got a lot of clay, this and that. So it's really hard unless you haul sand from somewhere else or something. That's very, very expensive. But every single track is completely different here.
It is, but the surface like you're talking about, they take the, and what helps with the drainage pulling your bottom. But
Absolutely.
there are other things like the depth and everything when they rip the tracks up.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, sir. Anything else on this? Yes, okay, let's move on. Do we have to make a motion on task force or not?
No, I just wanted to have a discussion
Okay.
to, let the commissioners know what we're doing.
Okay, and will we know who you're contacting and all that stuff? And you'll,
An open book.
okay, we need to know who you're talking to and the discussion you're gonna have with them, so on and so forth.
Yeah, we'll have them eventually come, probably introduce themselves to you before
Okay.
this whole process starts. And then afterwards, we'll do a presentation for the commissioner.
Somebody contacted the California Racing Commission, a man named Oscar Gonzalez. But on I think he's the chairman of the Racing Commission in California. He said, if you need any help, just let us know. We'll help you any way we can. Depending on where that call comes from. Somebody's contacted them.
We have been,
They were in contact all the
with
time.
the California Horse Racing Board with their executive director, Scott Cheney, as well as their equine medical director, Dr. Blaya. They're the ones that invited us out to go inspect a couple of their programs that they implemented after the catastrophic issue with Santa Anita. So they've been very kind to us. The industry's really supported the New Mexico Racing Commission when they saw the letter. You know, they have their thoughts on it, but been very supportive of what we've accomplished here over the last 8 years. You know, we'll just keep progressing forward. That's all we
He's
do.
from here, by the way, Oscar Gonzalez. They don't know. You know. He lives out there.
Okay. Good enough, let's go Sunland Park now, Sunland Redoso, slot agreement.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Fred Heinrich from Sunland Park. We are requesting the commission's approval of the slot agreement, the amendment to the slot agreement. The agreement's been in place since 2011. The amendment will increase the number of machines by 25. It provides for an annual fee, provides for an allocation of purses. It's been signed by Redoso and Sunland, and it's also been approved by the Gaming Control Board pursuant to statute. We also need the Racing Commission's approval.
Any questions?
So the only change would be the additional 25 slots.
25 machines, financial terms are revised slightly, and it's a 10-year deal.
Okay.
What kind of slots are they?
I'm sorry?
What kind of slots? $5, $1?
Whatever you like.
$100 ones.
You got any of those free play deals?
I would 8,000.
Okay.
That's not that someone I want 8,000. So I like your machine.
We like you, come on back.
Yeah.
Any questions, Mr. Heinrich? Well, I need a motion to approve this.
So moved, Commissioner Smith.
Second,
Buffington.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You got it, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's go to request for approval to pay 10% breeder award from the first.
Everyone step up, pull a chair if you want, or.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me a swivel chair. You can't answer it right, you don't have a swivel chair. Let you know.
Hi, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Fred Heinrich from Sutton Park. I think we're gonna be represented by Holotrax, maybe somebody's online here.
I don't see Zia.
Chris on?
Online.
Oh, they're online, yeah.
Yeah, Chris is on there.
I never see Zia. There's Chris right there.
So you should have in your board packets, my understanding, some correspondence, communications that I have personally had with both Director Trejo and Mr. Bustamante on this issue. I'd like to make 3 points, and I'd like everybody else to kind of chime in here. First and foremost, nothing is being taken away from the Breeders' Association. This is just a reallocation of where this money is coming from. Thus, and in fact, we'll talk about how this will be good for the breeders. Secondly, this is totally consistent with the Horse Racing Act and the Gaming Control Act. Assuming we get approval from the Racing Commission, we will also take this issue to the Gaming Control Board for their blessing. The reason we're coming to you is because this is a change in the way the business is being done. We just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page and everybody's thinking consistently. There's a specific statute in the Horse Racing Act, Section 61A24, that governs breeders' awards. There's nothing in that section of the statute that talks about where the money comes from. And for the life of me, I've tried to figure out why it's been set up the way it is, and I have not been able to figure that out. Well, we're talking,
because the tracks are so happy to get the slots, they did anything to keep going, and this happened
Probably
back then.
didn't know that.
No, that's what happened.
Yeah,
I tell
believe
you,
that.
they said, okay, that's all right, we'll give that back. Said, no problem.
So
That's the way it happened.
I believe that would be consistent with.
Yes.
with-
After gaming came in, they didn't go back and look at anything that needed to be changed because gaming created a whole different deal. And they're all elated and they just didn't go back. That's how the 1% got passed.
Go back and look at this.
Yeah.
And that's what I suspected. Last point I'd like to make, this is not a change from the breeder standpoint of what's been going on for years, because their share that they get out of the purse funds are being used for breeder awards. So this is totally what the tracks are requesting is totally consistent with what's been going on the other side of the ledger. So that's why we're requesting your approval, because it's a change in the way things have been done. Why don't you talk about that in a sentence?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Dustin Hicks, Director of Racing at Sunland Park. Just the dollar amounts of breed awards for Sunland Park the last 3 seasons, 448,000, 430,000, 377,000. So this is a pretty significant number for our bottom line. And what this does is it de-incentivizes us to run breed races, basically, that's coming out of the bottom line. Also, it de-incentivizes us of using the best races possible. That if we had a $5,000 New Mexico bred claiming race and an allowance, non-winners of 3 or whatever as extras, and they both fill, someone pretty sharp would say, well, this race is going to cost us this is going to. So this is really, the way this is, it's de-incentivizes the tracks to put out the best product that we can. And to Fred's point as well, that this is about less than 3% of our purse account in the park that we're talking about dollar amount. So it's not a huge number of the total purse account, but to the bottom line, when we talk about the racing model being broken, this is just one of the things that it'll make racing look a lot better. And when there's racing's looking better, that's when investment is easier to
So make your bottom line look a lot better too, right?
It'll make racing look better.
It'll make your bottom line look like better, right?
It'll make all the tracks.
I'm just asking about yours.
It will.
Okay, well, that's what I asked. Okay.
And also it'll allow us to get more investment as we've talked about in the past, as racing looks better on paper, then investment looks better as well. So that's where we're coming from on this as well. And I've asked some of the people that were around a long time ago how this came into place, and that was kind of the answer I got.
That was.
No one ever thought of it. We were all excited to get gaming, and we've talked about this for years and years and years, and that's why we presented it today, just because of the amount of breed races we're riding that is in excess of $400,000 a
Well,
year.
it is, it seems to me like it is a disincentive.
It is.
Right, New Mexico breed races.
Oh, now it is.
Yeah, it is now a disincentive to do that, and that's why I think it makes sense to at least get rid of the disincentive to add a New Mexico race.
But the thing is, if we approve this, we want to see the changes though. You see what I'm saying? We're not just gonna approve this just to approve. The thing is, you all are claiming that it's gonna help this industry. So, well, we want to see how it helps. And we need a report saying, okay, we did this here, and now look at the industry, look what we're doing here, look what's going on here. To just approve it because you're saying this doesn't mean nothing to me. I want to see some proof in the pudding where it is helping the industry, because that's what we're here for, to help this
Well, the
industry.
only way that will help is the New Mexico bridge.
To Hossie's
Well, that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what, but I want to see the writing.
We would anticipate more New Mexico breed races.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
It would be what we would anticipate.
Absolutely.
I mean, and that's what you're saying, it would eliminate that disincentive. I mean, you have two races, one's a disincentive to run if it's New Mexico breed race. And like you said, someone sharp would say.
And the AG's office or any other attorney, their attorney in the game control box, they can't come to us and say, you approve something that statute says you cannot.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Smith, I've taken a deep dive on this over the course of the last couple of years. And like Dustin said, we finally got around to raising the issue. In my humble opinion, this is very clean. I don't know why it hasn't been done before.
Well, the thing is, we want to see results. WL, you have your hand up?
WL Warren,
Okay, yes, sir.
I can't see where, okay, are we gonna lose the 10%?
No.
Okay, where's the money gonna come from?
First account.
Just like it is now, but the racetracks don't pay none of it.
It's still coming out of a different bucket. It's just coming out of a different bucket.
Right.
That's all.
But we don't lose nothing.
You lose nothing. No changes at
If you
all.
wanna write more New Mexico bridge.
That'll be up to Dustin.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you get that, you should write more New Mexico bridge. That's why that's our calling card.
That's the theory. That's the theory.
And that's why I asked for
That's why Hossie's gonna track.
The thing is, that's why I asked, we want to see results. We want to see the results.
That's our calling card.
If we're gonna prove this, that's what I'm
Owners
saying.
of a New Mexico bridge, that 10%.
And you'll see it when Mary makes a report.
Yeah.
After it changes, if it changes, when she does her report, you're gonna see 3.5 of breeds, race, and this, that. It's gonna go up to 5, maybe 6. Who knows?
But if it goes south, then we'll revisit this, because if this isn't good for the industry. You see, I want to see it improve the industry. That's why we're here, to improve the industry, not improve pocketbooks. We're here to improve this industry.
If it doesn't work, like Hossie said, we can review it.
We
and change it
we
back.
could come back and look at it again. But we want it to work. Believe me.
So do we.
Okay.
Yeah, just a general comment, Ethan from Reynoso, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I think it's a broad thing that we really can run analysis on, but I think we need to be eyes wide open. As an example, there might be the difference between running a $5,000 race and a $50,000 race is meaningful for both the owners, the breeders, the traders, and the racetrack. I don't know holistically if you're going to see an exponential increase in number of races, but you're really looking at increased quality of races and things like that as well, that all can be tracked and presented to the racing commission. So I wouldn't hang my hat on a significant amount of increased races, but it also means more $50,000 races instead of $12,000 races.
Well, see, that's what we want to see.
Things that can happen.
We want to see that. You see, Mr. Brown.
Yes, Mark Brown. Question I have is, you say that you're moving the money now. Basically, you're moving your $400,000 expense from the racetrack to the Horseman's first account. Is that correct? Because the money has to come from somewhere.
Right.
So the call Horseman's first account, the whole thing is going to be discounted by what you guys.
That's correct.
Is that right?
That's correct.
So that's where the money is coming from. It's not just free money where we're just.
And that's what the breeders are using their share of the first account for now. It's breed awards.
It's greater.
So we're just trying to make the tracks consistent with what the breeders have been doing for years.
Yeah, but bottom line is you're gonna make $400,000 more, and it's gonna come out of the total purse money that the total Horseman's account is coming out of.
It'll come out of the purse account, which will still leave us with a very strong purse structure.
See, and that's what I'm saying here. If that happens, you see that you're taking the money from a different pot. But the thing is, I want to see improvements. If we don't see these improvements, and they're telling us that there's going to be improvements by doing this, well, let's see. We want to see the improvements. We're not just going to do this just for the heck of it. We want to see improvements and go from there. If we don't get no improvements, we'll revisit this thing.
And I do.
What Ethan's trying to say is, if there's a allowance race over here that fills, and there's a 5,000 claimer over here, they're probably gonna take the $5,000 claimer because it's cheaper to run it
Under the current structure.
than the current structure.
Yeah, so that's fine. If that's an improvement, let's run with it. I mean, and that's what, there's different kinds of improvements. You know, it doesn't have to be more races. It's, if the purses are better, this, that, different horses, better quality of horse, so on and so forth. There's different ways you can look at improvement. It doesn't have to be the more racist or nothing. It could be different ways. So you can improve something different ways, but we want to see that improvement.
And
As a commission.
And don't forget the $5,000, $10,000 claimant horse. That's the backbone of your industry. There's a lot of those horses out there. So
And maybe
I would be very much opposed if all of a sudden they were all $50,000 allowances.
Yeah.
I know that's not anybody's intention, and I don't think anybody would, but you know, don't forget those claiming purses and those races, because they need to go, because you got a lot of horses that fit into that category.
In the end, the horsemen, the trainers, and the owners get that money anyway. I mean, they say you're taking out the purse money. Yes and no. It's gonna go to the owners and to the owners anyway. They're getting that money anyway. It's just coming, it's just, instead of going from the purse account, it's like, instead of them winning it on the racetrack, they get it. They get the money anyway. It comes from the same drawer. It's just a roundabout way of getting it.
Well, and that's exactly where I started with this, Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Smith. It's paid after a race based on the performance of a horse. That's a purse.
That's right.
So it's totally appropriate to have it come out of the purse account.
That's right.
As a
That's
percentage, as a percentage of total purses, this should redistribute more to New Mexico horsemen.
Right, that's the way I believe it.
Yeah, exactly right.
So
They're
that's
gonna get more of that purse money
correct.
than anybody else,
That'll be your true measure.
instead of going to the outside sector.
All I'm saying, we want to see it and go from there. And then if it, I mean, we'll give it a couple of years or whatever. Let's see, we might not even be here, but whatever. Never know. But we want to make sure it's better for the industry. Anytime we make a decision like this, it's got to better the industry. Because I'm telling you one thing, we're not going to better individual pocketbooks here. We're going to better the industry. That's what we're about here.
So after you do it for one season, you'll be able to come with a graph. How much more went to the New Mexico bred horses than the open horses? You'll be able to do a graph like that one, right?
Yes, sir.
That's what we want to see.
So you guys need to get together and put that graph together for us after the summer season is over.
That would be good if you all had the same graph, the same report.
Agree. I'll say the same thing.
The one that,
Yeah, but this graph better make sense.
Yeah, no, I'm totally for that. I just don't like to see one,
The numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
one common measurement.
Well, why don't we ask for projections for this coming race meet Sunday? And at the next meeting, see them and then decide there, because I think, no offense, but it's ambiguous for you to say, this is gonna benefit. How do we, I mean, what are we gonna measure against? Now, if you tell us this is what's gonna happen, we can measure against that. For me, I'm just my opinion, and I think the horse owners and the horse breeders, they're a little skeptical about this, because I look in the back.
Yeah, you
and I
can
see
tell, yeah.
WL shaking his head all the way around and stuff, so.
He says yes, and then he
I mean,
says no.
to me, if you said, this is what we project to do, this is what this coming race meet's gonna mean, and then we can, okay, now here's something we can measure against. Now we have something against, except right now it's kind of ambiguous to me, and that's just my opinion.
Well, that's a good opinion.
it is.
And that's all we're trying to do. We're trying, everyone here's trying to do something good for this industry, and that's what it is. And you telling us you can help it, well, let's see.
If you look at it, the flow of it, more of the first money is going to go to the New Mexico people than the other ones. That's what this is doing. More the New Mexico people are gonna get the first one, not outside. That's what that's what it looks like.
Well, we'll find out.
It in no way changes, we have to run 3 days. Now the question is, 3 plus, and at what level?
We have to offer for it.
Yeah, we'll find out. You guys work your scheme and stuff, we'll find out. Okay, we'll find out what's working. You guys give us the numbers and stuff, and here's what we did, here's where it's at, here's where it was last time, and here's where it's at there. But if it's going south, we're gonna say, whoa, it's not working here. So you guys better do a good job on this.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Petrie, are you looking at just the Sunland meets since we're coming up?
Well,
It's going to be difficult for the other tracks because they're so far out from their meets to do projections.
It's just, I mean, to me, I need something to measure. If you're gonna say we're the whole year, then we have to wait a whole year to vote. But I think you say this is projection now. If it's approved, then we can monitor in a short window, we can see if it's on the right track and for the benefit of everybody, like you say.
Makes sense. Sure.
Cause you're not up till what, the end of December, right?
Beginning of January, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can bring this back to you in November with some projections.
See where you're at, yeah, that'd be good. But, let's move on from there. At least we're on the right track here. We're not just gonna award this just for help. We're gonna make sure that it's done right and what you all are saying is correct. That's it. You guys brought it up, so we're just holding you to it. Yes, sir.
And honorable commissioners, just to further the record from the commission's perspective is, obviously, as you know, the legislature has mandated that one of the commission's duties is to regulate the size of purses. And, my research on this issue basically, dovetails with Mr. Heinrichs in the sense of neither the Horse Racing Act or the administrative rules dictate or deal with exactly where this 10% money needs to come from.
Yeah, we understand that.
So we just want to make that clear for the record.
So we have a meeting in November that you can have that ready for us?
Yes, sir. We will.
So we will basically just table this to November and then, hear that information. And
Yeah, we can.
make a motion
And
in November to approve it or disapprove it.
yeah, we can do that. That way it gives you guys, get your ducks in a row. And the horsemen and everything, if they have questions, well, they can bring them up.
And I'll be getting millions of calls and I'll be able, I can explain it to them where it makes sense. The bottom line is, it's better for the New Mexico horsemen.
And that's what we want.
The
we want to see
New
it.
Mexico horsemen. Not, they're gonna get more of the first one.
And I believe that to be true, but.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
They have to prove it.
I like the idea of
Give us projections.
give us some projections.
We go with it and we can now monitor the projections again. And everybody, I think if they're all on the same page, it's much more chance of being successful.
And we can get it together by your meet, although I would like to add that's gonna be, maybe you can do some things with extras or something like that, but. Because your book will already be out. And you're gonna have to project something based on a book that's got that in it or not in it, right? What you write in your book.
Right. And I'm just thinking out loud, he will also going to need the gaming control board's approval, seeker approval. So we'll figure this out.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because we have our meeting the day before this one, so.
Yeah.
There we go.
Martin, the management of racetracks, are they gonna add that 400,000 or whatever to the New Mexico race? Or what they gonna do with that one? That they add into the 10%?
I have no idea.
That's what we're wanting to know. What they gonna do with their money?
It's going to come out of a different bucket.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do with it?
It's going to
You
you.
wanna put it back in?
No, it's going to you.
As Dustin explained, this provides an incentive to continue investing in racing.
It goes to you, WL. It's coming out of a different deal, but you're coming to the New Mexico horse. It doesn't help a Texas horseman, or Oklahoma horseman. The only people it helps is the New Mexico.
Yeah, but and won't be no more, no extra races, more races written.
Yeah.
If it,
Yeah, they probably
It
will.
might be, it's hard to tell,
that's what I'm
but
saying.
that's why I say we want to see how this is gonna work.
They're gonna take a claiming race over an allowance race, but the first bigger, the 10% is bigger. How you work that? That's what it is now. They'll run a cheap race when we don't get to run an allowance race because the paying of the racetracks.
Now they can run both on the cars.
That's what I'm saying. So they can run a cheap race and
Yes.
race too.
So right now, the state law asks us to write 3 a day.
Right, I understand.
Now, if 4 still, 1's an extra and 3 are in the book, we're not disincentivized to pick 3. We're incentivized to pick the best races. If that includes the 4th, that's the best result for you and for us to put forth that race. So it's not a disincentive, it's an encouragement to do it because it's a better race.
And part of a better race is defined if you have a full field versus a short field. So, you know, a better race would be a full field.
So see, a better race is people betting on this race more than another race. You see, there's so many parts of this thing. And it's up to you all to figure out what works best to make it work right.
I like the idea of seeing how it goes and we can undo it if it doesn't work.
All right, look at Mr. Brown.
Yeah, I'm Mark Brown. Just a question, as you guys are looking at changing this and the more races that, we all know that we've been super fight with the shorter days and that. With this, could it be included that the racetracks like running 11 and 12 races a day, give the horsemen and the breeders more opportunities to run? Because we're seeing it Ruidoso and Albuquerque now, we're getting full fields and a lot of horses can't get in on the open nights. So maybe included with this, something that would include running more races per day at the racetracks. So at least it's the least expensive deal for the horse races, the horse tracks to run races. But it'll give horsemen and breeders more opportunities to run their horses. That's something maybe look at, but maybe something in the goal of combining the two of them.
I don't know. I mean, that's a whole
That's just
different
another
thing.
question.
Yeah, and I understand where you're coming from because I get that question all the time. I mean, as far as opportunities to run. Yes, sir.
So Ethan from Ruidoso, that situation occurred last year. Our book, the result that we got from the horsemen that hauled into the barn area didn't necessarily jive with our condition book to make it as successful as we could. So ultimately, we came back to the commission, worked with the executive director, Mr. Trejo, and actually took Ruidoso to 11 on Saturdays and Sundays. Then we went to 12. I think the racetracks are open, specifically Ruidoso, and understand the wants and the desires. And if we've got to go to 11 on certain days of the week, or if we have to go to 12, the commission was very helpful last year in allowing us to do that. And if that situation arises where we're not filling in certain scenarios and we need to run maybe special weights on Fridays like we did last year, we're happy to have that conversation.
Yeah, I think everybody would benefit if we had more opportunities. So that's one way to do it.
I think there needs to be more opportunities for maidens. There's some maidens back there. You all have to consider that. Maiden races are, I think that's a key, because once these horses break their maiden, then that's when you get to your allowance horses, your claimers, this and that. They go on to other races, but they have to break the maiden. So I think the key to this whole thing is riding maiden races and go from there, because you have 10 horses running, let's go break this maiden. If you have a dead heat, you can have another that too. It is what it is.
Take one maiden out of each race.
Yeah. Some of them will break their maiden to maiden claim.
Some of them will break their maiden too. Most won't.
And that's the way it is. But that's where we have to figure that out, whether we make it better.
Chairman, I believe Mr. Tom Dontrop has his hand up.
Okay.
If you want to let him speak.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you very much. Can you? Sorry.
Okay, Tom.
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Director Trejo, Tom Dontroff, New Mexico Horse Breeders. I have some questions as to whether this violates current statute, but that's a discussion for probably an attorney, and I'm certainly not an attorney. But I did hear Chairman Sanchez and Commissioner Petrie's concerns. Should this come to fruition, should this be decided that this is the way to go to address the concerns that I've heard from the two commissioners just named, we could put a sunset on this bill so we can judge the performance of the effects, couldn't we?
There's different ways of doing it, but I think we're already doing that by the reports we're getting. You see, the reports we're gonna get. Let's put it that way. That's like a sunset, pretty close.
Yeah, we could
I mean-
elect to suspend or change back if it wasn't going the way we thought it would work. So
The way
that's the same thing as a sunset.
it works the same thing as a sunset.
Okay. All right. Well, appreciate the opportunity.
You bet. Thank you. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I mean, and all we're trying to do here, someone comes up with a proposal, well, that's fine. Let's prove that's gonna work. And if it does what you guys said, it's more power to all of us.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I've had extensive conversations with Mr. Trejo and Mr. Bustamante, but this was a great conversation. We haven't had a chance to have this with you. So I totally understand where you're coming from. I think this is a great suggestion. We'll follow through and get you something before the next meeting.
That sounds like.
Can I make a clarification? Are we asking for just some?
That's what I had suggested.
Because they're the next ones up.
Yeah.
I mean,
We just want to make sure we give you what you're asking for.
yeah, but they're the next track that's up. That's
I
why.
would assume you guys will share your information.
And then going down and then we get to on the register track.
Your turn will be next or next or next.
We'll work together on some model that
Yeah.
all the tracks can use, so you're seeing the same format in terms of the information.
Correct.
And the same results.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And then it's gonna come down that one track's different than another. Yeah, what works at Sunland might not work at Sunray. We don't know, but that's up to you guys. Okay?
All right.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on. Let's see, where are we at now? Read those down.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, if you're under Ruidoso Downs, we have a short list today. We are respectfully requesting ratification of approval to amend the 2023 wagering format. That's simply the All-American Futurity and All-American Derby daily double. So simply as approaching All-American, we submitted for wagering format to allow for a daily double. So respectfully, we're here asking for ratification of that approval.
A motion to ratify.
So moved, Commissioner Smith. Second, Buffington.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Got it. Okay. Go on.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Ruidoso respectfully request for ratification to approve the variance on August 27th, 2023. That is the day that we actually spoke about earlier this year where we got inundated with rain between race number 1 and race number 2. Between myself, the stewards, and the jockeys, we all decided it was better to lay off after the race 1 and maintain the track and come back another day. So we're here to respectfully request ratification of the cancellation of races after day 1 for safety reasons.
Okay, motion to ratify.
So moved, Commissioner Smith. Second, Buffington.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, got it.
How do you make up those races?
So we didn't, we were late enough in the card, it was August 27th, so we worked with Mr. Trejo. And we were allowed to, basically, anybody who was entered to race that day equally shared the purses for each race.
I knew that. I just wanted you to say.
I want to hear you talk.
So that everybody else could hear it.
Okay. Donnie, you're
I
next.
wanted them to hear it too. But they did.
Approval for the Downs Valley.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Don Cook at the Downs in Albuquerque, requesting ratification of the following nomination blanks. The 2024 State Fair Futurity, 2024 State Fair Derby, 2024 La Fiesta Futurity, 2024 La Fiesta Derby, 2025 State Fair Wheeling Bank, and the 2024 Thoroughbred Futurity.
All these are for the state fair, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, with the exception of the La Fiesta Derby and Futurity.
Okay, La Fiesta, can we take all state fair in one and then the Derby in the other? I mean, the one for the Downs, another motion or what?
Yeah. Well, when the chairman was asking if we could do the license separately and all the rest of the state fair.
Oh, sure. Sorry, Chairman, Commission, whatever is most efficient.
Okay.
These motions.
Now, because I hate to mix them up on the same motion.
I could change my
let's do all the state fair in motion. Okay? And then we'll do, the downs separate.
Okay.
That way we'll mix them up.
I got you.
Okay.
That's 4. Number 6, fair 4.
So,
First 3 and then number 6.
okay, the Chairman Commissioners requesting ratification of the following 2024 and 25 nomination blanks for the New Mexico State Fair. The 2024 State Fair Thoroughbred Futurity, 2024 State Fair Quarter Horse Futurity, 2024 State Fair Quarter Horse Derby, 2025 State Fair Wingman.
Okay.
So moved.
So moved. We got a motion. So moved. Second, Buffington. We got a motion second. On favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, you got it there.
Chairman, Commissioners requesting ratification of the following 2024 nomination blanks. 2024 La Fiesta Quarter Horse Futurity, 2024 La Fiesta Quarter Horse Derby.
And that's split out.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
So moved, Commissioners.
second, Buffington, a motion and a second. On favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
Chairman and Commissioners requesting ratification of variance on September 13th, 2023. This was due to rain and had to cancel after the 5th race.
Okay, is that for state fair?
That was during the state fair meet, correct?
Okay. Let's make sure and recognize that what goes. Okay, I need a motion.
Remove Commissioner Smith.
Second, Buffington. Motion is second. On favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
The Chairman Commissioner, this was also during the New Mexico State Fair meet. Ratification to amend our 2023 post-time and wagering format on September 22nd. That was 2015 trials for the New Mexico State Fair Quarter Horse for 30 and the wagering format, the adjusted wagering format also.
All in favor? I mean, I need a motion,
Commissioner
please.
Smith.
Second, Buffington. I got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, for items 9 and 10, if we could do them together, they're tied in with the same request.
Okay.
And this would be a combination of the State Fair down to Albuquerque. Well, for structure and the wagering format.
Let's get, I'd rather do them separate, if possible. Let's get 9.
Is that the state fair 9?
Yeah, but I mean,
Can we do
so
them
we get these approved, it's kind of down to Albuquerque / State Fair. It's all funded the same. So.
Oh, if it's funded the same, yeah, I know where you're coming from. Okay, no, I see where you're coming from because you guys fund the state fair, so I see that. Okay,
So I think this item we could
do together. Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, items 9 and 10.
Chairman, Commissioner, down to Albuquerque and represent the State Fair. Requesting ratification to amend our 2023 purse structure and our 2023 state schedule. To amend the purse structure was a 10% increase across the board, excluding states and trials. And then amending the state schedule, we did add a constellation for the quarter horse derby this year.
Okay.
And also we increased the purse of the first moon splash quarter horse maturity from 75 to 100,000 and the Manzano stakes from 60 to 75,000.
Yes, Chairman, members of the commission, just for clarification, Don, there was an initial purse increase that was submitted and it was in action for a handful of days. And then the request was withdrawn, stopped, and a new request for the 10% overall was in. So I think we need to prove all of them. So
Yeah,
I just want to get that on the record, then we're doing all.
Yeah. So did he word it all right for that or not? Or did she just word it?
I just got it on the record. So
Okay, it's on the record. Okay.
It's knowledgeable or acknowledge that we approved 2 moves.
The 20%, the 10%.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because it did happen, so we gotta prove it. Okay, I need a motion.
So moved, Commissioner Smith.
Second,
Second, Buffington.
We got a motion and a second, on favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thanks,
That's, another thing, Mr. Trejo,
Yes,
next time we do this, I want to separate the New Mexico State Fair from the downtown. Because they're two separate meets, even though they're funded by the same source, they're still two separate meets.
really understood.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Donnie, appreciate it. Okay, approval for Zia Park. Now we're gonna monitor here.
Exactly.
Thank you, Donnie.
I'm sorry. Vice Chair Sanchez, Commissioners, Chris Mackerlane, Penn Entertainment, representing Zia Park. We have on the agenda our 2023 post time schedule and wagering format. Wagering format's unchanged from last year. Post time is 12:05 daily. The first 2 days of the meet fall under daylight savings, and then we change. So this will allow us to get 10 races.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, I need a motion approved. So move, Commissioner Smith. A motion. Second, Buffington. A second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes got it, okay?
One clarification. I did put in my letter on the wagering format. We currently have one pick five per day on the schedule. We had asked in that letter to do a second pick five on our 2 state days, November 27th and 28th. I just want to make sure that that was part of the approval.
That change anything on our part here? Is he?
No, but one thing I do want to clarify is in the same request for wager and takeout, they're asking to run up to 12 races per day when the opportunity exists.
12 races or more, huh?
Add up to 12 races per day based on sunlight availability.
12 races or more. Okay,
Well,
that's good.
I have a question, but I'll follow up afterwards.
Did we do that?
We're good on the wagering format. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I need a motion. So you guys better get you some lights if you're gonna be running that many races.
So move, Commissioner Smith.
I need a second.
Second, Buffington.
Need a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Yeah, I think that will be it there.
We have a second request.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Official.
Sorry, our racing officials for the 2023 race meet have been submitted to the commission, and we would ask for approval.
So move, Commissioner Smith.
Second, Buffington.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passes. Another thing, I heard grumblings about not being open for trainers and owners to get their papers in there for 0 date. Are you guys all right with all that? I mean, you accommodating?
The race office has actually been open since the beginning of the month, and we'll be open on through Friday. Then we'll be open first thing Monday morning, and we'll be open every day until the first draw on the 27th. So there should be more than enough time for people to get there.
But you're telling me this weekend you're gonna be closed, right?
That is scheduled right now. Yes, sir.
Okay. All righty. We'll I just want to get clarification on that because I've got a few phone calls on it. Just want to make sure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, go on, Sunland Park.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Dustin Dix, Director of Racing, Sunland Park. We're requesting approval, several items. The first one is requesting approval of our 2023-24 stall application that are due October 30.
Any questions, sir? Can I get a motion approved?
So move, Commissioner Smith.
Second, Buffington.
Motion second. questions, no, nothing, huh? Okay. Vote on this thing? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, got it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Our second item is request approval to amend our 2023-24 allocated race days. And this is just a point of clarification. We were awarded a 55-day racing season, January 5th to April 7th, starting on that Friday. So I don't know if Agency Director Trejo wanted to jump in, but this was just a point of clarification.
Sure, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, on the calendar that was created by the staff, we erroneously put January 4th as the start date for the race meet. That would have made them have 56 days of racing. So we take January 4th off. Starting date will be on a Friday, January 5th, for the 55 days that were allocated.
They didn't want an extra day?
We tried to convince them.
I don't think you guys tried hard enough.
They're doing their part.
Okay, need a motion?
So move, Commissioner Smith.
Second, Buffington.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Our next item is a request approval to amend our 2023-24 first schedule. This is an amendment from our application, because on our application we were requesting less days, so our purses were about 20% higher on our application. The first structure that we're asking for approval today is as submitted, and this is the same first schedule that we used at last year.
Motion.
So move, Commissioner Smith.
Second, Buffington.
Got motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Our next item is we're requesting approval of our 2023-24 condition book number 1, as submitted.
Motion.
So move, Commissioner Smith.
Second, Buffington.
Got motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Our next item is we're requesting approval of our 2023-24 stake schedule. Several changes this year. We're moving the Sunland Derby from our traditional March date to President's Day weekend. Churchill notified us that we're no longer a 50-point race, we're a 20-point race. So with that decision, we decided to move the race earlier in our meet to try to give horsemen additional opportunities to earn points after our race to get the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaksburg. We also shortened the distance of the race because of mile and age. That time of year of February 18th, a little early for 3-year-olds. So we shortened the Sunland Derby to a mile and 16 as well. And we made,
how many points do you need to get into Kentucky Derby?
it varies, Commissioner. It varies. 20 points usually isn't enough. Usually, so if you win the Sunland Derby under the new scenario, you'll need points in another race. So our thinking was moving this, that if you compete in a 100-point race and hit the board, you'll have more than enough points to get into the race.
Okay.
So we're hoping actually the quality of the Sunland Derby, Sunland Oaks, with this move will make it a better quality race.
If you won the Sunland Derby,
You're automatically, yeah. And the Sunland Oaks. And also what we did with the purse from the Sunland Derby, we cut the purse $400,000 to make it more in line with the 20-point races. And I added some money towards the end of the meet, try to create another day. So basically with our stake schedule is all of our Sunland Derby stakes, we moved them to February, and then the prep races for those, we moved them to the end of our meet. So we raised the purse of some of those races at the end of the meet to try to create another marquee day.
So who decided to make it up for 50 points to 20?
Churchill Downs.
Churchill, they decided that.
They gave me a courtesy call to let me know.
Wow.
Nice.
We're gonna have to go talk to those boys up there. My daughter lives up there. I think I'll take a trip.
They're,
Mr. Trejo, did you have something to add to this?
No, Mr. Chairman, he mentioned what I was going to add.
Oh, okay.
The Mind That Bird, which was traditionally a prep race for the Sunland Derby, has now been moved to the end of the race gate as he mentioned.
And commissioners, I'm hoping that by creating some of these races at the end of the meet, we could create another big day and It's gonna be headlined by the Sunland Park Handicap, which will be now $200,000 for older horses and, we're just hoping, as we know, horse racing is a event-driven sport, so we're always looking to use our stakes races to create more events at Sunland Park.
Okay. Move on from there. We need to vote. We need a motion here. So move, Commissioner. Second, Buffington. The motion second, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay.
Commissioner, now that's approved, I should mention another thing from the stakes schedule.
We can disapprove it fast.
Commissioner Buffington. Commissioner Buffington, for your information, our stakes are approximately $3,185,600. And this, we're projecting our first account at $15,700,000 right now. So this will be 20.2%. So we've hit very close to your 20%.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to put that on record. And I should also thank the New Mexico breeders and Mike Logan, who worked extensively, and Mary Barber we revamped a lot of our stakes, and it was a lot of work, and I appreciate the back and forth that we did. So thank you to the New Mexico Breeders Association.
Thank you.
Our next item, is
we're gonna get 6, 10 together. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Sunland Parks requesting approval of our 2024 Shoe Fly West Texas Derby, West Texas Maturity, New Mexican Spring Maturity, West Texas Maturity nomination blank as submitted.
Need a motion? So move, Commissioner Smith. All in favor? I mean, second, Buffington. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay. Got it.
All right.
To 11.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, our last, item for approval is request approval of the gaming breakage from the state, and Mary Barber submitted that letter as well, and I believe the commission has that. Yes.
So move, Commissioner Smith. Second, Buffington. Motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Thank you, sir. I already saw your socks. You're not showing. Please don't. Do something for the meeting. Okay, let's move on. Okay, move on to J, and just looking at this thing, we're gonna table this.
Mr. Chairman, if
I need a motion.
Not necessarily, but I think in this case, I would request that the commission formally approve to table this.
Okay, and that's what I was getting at, but listen, I need a motion to table this. So move, Commissioner Smith. Second, Buffington. Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? We'll get them.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, there is some correspondence from a few of the parties in this case that you just tabled, that they may be asking for additional time to respond to the exceptions. If I could have a motion to give me the authority to approve an extension of time to allow the response to the exceptions to be filed, say within 7 days of the next meeting, I'd appreciate it.
But Daniel, I'm sorry. Okay, isn't the rule 5 days?
The rule is 5 days. If all parties agree to an extension of 5 days, I don't see how it creates a legal issue. You could stick strictly to the rule though.
Okay, I need a motion for this. What are we gonna do, the rule or? Whatever they need.
You want to give the attorneys who are responding, if you have extra time, if they ask for it, or?
He's asking for 7, the rule says 5. So we give 7?
Well, no, I'm not saying 7, I'm saying you want to give them more time, say until 7 days before the next commission meeting.
Why not? Because we don't want to waste the money. Yeah, let's make a motion.
So go ahead, Commissioner Smith.
You have to tell what, 7 or 5?
Depends what they ask for.
Okay. Whatever the request is. We're just giving him permission to. Yeah.
I mean, I need a little time to review it before the meeting, so up to 7 days before I
Don't mess it up.
Second, Buffington.
Okay.
We got a motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Anything else? Well, we're done, buddy.
Recording stopped.
Good meeting.
You're right back.
We did something right. Hopefully, Chairman, you're. This is not the allocation agreement. We have
You got it.
Good.